Welcome to See You in the Lobby, women's basketball's newest and least filtered basketball podcast. Is that fair to say?
I think that's about accurate.
Yeah, that's about fair to say. I think we're going to kick this one off with...
my favorite part of the show.
We got there.
The lobby bar is always popping.
I'm actually excited for this one because...
You shouldn't be. As you guys know by now, Matt and I make our weekly bets. He didn't win, but he didn't lose. We had a push. I bet...
That's a win. I heard Matt didn't lose. Continue.
I bet that there was going to be at least 2 techs in the Seattle-Phoenix matchup last week. I lost. Matt, what was yours?
Well, I said that Tina Charles was going to have 15 points in her revenge game, and
she had 14.
14. Thanks for the blown layups, Tina.
Just would like to put on record that Matt has still not beat me in this. So, but we both had to take a shot.
Yeah, let's start off.
Cheers, my friend. And I made sure to make yours a little more since.
Thanks, I definitely needed that. It doesn't get any easier. Let's start with the player who we really need to talk a whole lot about this week.
We do.
Skylar Diggins-Smith.
Skylar Diggins-Smith, my player of the week. She got some ankles.
Yeah, I guess we'll start there. I want to give a brief moment of silence for Stephanie Talbot's ankles.
We got to drink to that.
Both the left and the right one suffered a devastating blow when they attempted to guard Skylar Diggins-Smith on a cross-up.
I think they're somewhere still buried at the elbow, maybe.
Every time I watch it, it gets sadder and sadder.
The best part is the gone crazy celebration after.
She knew in the moment. Yeah, I don't really think you come back from that one. Again, I would have asked for a sub and probably left the arena. I would have at least tried to fake an injury.
Hats off to her for getting up so quickly.
Yeah, it was really pleasant of her. Let's toast.
Oh man, R.I.P. to the ankles.
Yep,
I hope she was taped up. Moment of silence. Man.
All right, let's actually talk about Skylar now, though, because I feel like of everyone having an awesome season, for some reason, Skylar has been talked about the least. Do you feel that way also?
I do. It's crazy to me watching the game against Seattle, and they had her stats up. She's been putting up great numbers all season. She's shooting the ball well, 43% from the field, 84% from the free throw line, averaging 20 and 5. You would think she'd be more in the MVP conversations. I think it's hard when you have players like Asia and Stewie doing what Asia and Stewie would do. But I think considering all that Phoenix has been through this season and for her to still be so consistent, she deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw this stat from Owen Pence, which was really crazy. It's that the Mercury have a plus 2.3 net rating when Skylar's on the court, which is playoff conversation, minus 16.5 when she's off, which is congrats, you're drafting Aaliyah Boston next year. That type of horrendous.
So those are the things that need to be taken into consideration when talking about MVP.
Yep.
You remove Skylar from that lineup and they're a totally different team. Same with Seattle and Vegas, removing those 2 stars we talked about. But I think she has a much bigger impact. You remove her, they're losing by 20. You remove Asia and Stewie, you can make an argument that both teams can still compete.
Yeah, especially I think sometimes just in general, the WNBA is such a forward-heavy league, and again, you talk about Stewie, you talk about Asia. Guards get sometimes left out of that combo, but Skylar has really made that type of impact. And without her, they'd be screwed, right? Diana is straight up not having a great year.
Yeah.
She's very hit or miss, and she's not playing any sort of defense at all. So to have somebody like Skylar show up is a big deal, and I think the painful part is seeing her game slighted a little bit, lost in the conversation of our favorite clown emoji. And also the thing I'm still kind of mad about is that Skylar wasn't an all-star starter, which also seems to...
insane to still think about. And I don't think Skylar gets enough credit for putting since she came into her rookie season was shaky, but after that she has been an all-star player, and to have the hype that Skylar Diggins has had since she was at Notre Dame, she kind of started this whole wave of the influencer athlete, and to have all that pressure on her shoulders and to perform at the level she's gotten better every year in my opinion. And to be having an MVP caliber season and to not be in this discussion is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, if Phoenix makes the playoffs, they can't thank anyone more than her.
Agreed.
Save them through the season. I also, in this same little segment on talking about some of our faves, I want to give a brief little shout out to another player who should have made the All-Star game, Kelsey Mitchell.
I still don't think she should have made it, but
Should have made the All-Star game.
Give your shout out.
Dropped 34 points, 12-23 shooting. Yeah, Indiana caught another L because that's what they're here to do this season. But
no wonder they're your favorite team because y'all are both always catching L's.
Okay, I'm done with this. Let's talk about another one of our faves. Here's the thing: we can actually reach some common ground on because she's a Terp.
Go Terps.
Alyssa Thomas's triple-double.
I was floored when I heard they said that was her first one. I swore she had one in the league before, but hats off, AT, go Terps, way to represent. Happy and proud of her.
No shoulders, doesn't matter.
Listen, when you don't need shoulders when you have AT's athletic ability.
No, I was very surprised with that with AT. And AT's another player, still under the radar, still in my... She's not going to win MVP. But when you talk about a complete player who's doing everything on both sides of the ball, AT is also up there in that conversation of players that maybe don't get the same hype that others do.
No, I agree. And, we were talking about one of my faves earlier, Catch. And I think there's a lot of similarities, not saying in their games, but in that they both never take a play off. They play both sides of the ball, and they're never in that conversation. Catch had her MVP season, but I never thought Catch got the love she deserved.
We're going to talk about that.
We could talk about that, but yeah.
Anyway, congrats to AT. It's the first of many.
Go Terps. Our Terps, look at us out there getting triple doubles.
Yeah, maybe us soon.
Oh.
We want to give another little congratulations to...
Hold on. Thanks.
Tina Charles. Tina Charles joined the 7,000 point club. Fourth player to do it, second named Tina.
When you think of the company she's in, Taurasi, Catch, and Tina Thompson, to be in that company is pretty impressive. And for me, it's even more impressive that she's been able to keep playing at a high level after all the drama kind of surrounding her this year with the divorce that everybody likes to talk about. Then I thought it was messed up. We were super excited for the matchup last week with Seattle and Phoenix, and that Phoenix broadcast team kept referring to her as 31. I thought that was so petty.
It was weirdo stuff
and unnecessary. What did she do wrong? Somebody tell me what she did wrong. At the end of the day, professional sports is a business. Teams and executives will get rid of players whenever they want if it's going to benefit the organization. But when a player does what's best for them, everybody's up in uproar. We don't know what went on in that locker room. We don't know what Tina was dealing with. She made, at the end of the day, the best decision was for her. She did no harm in doing that.
Yeah, it was real weirdo stuff, especially because, Tina wasn't there for very long either. It's not like she had spent her whole career there and then fans felt slighted at a certain point. Tina went there. She tried to win a ring, and things clearly weren't working out. We know Tina's heading towards the end of her career. She wants it. That's why she went to Seattle, because she ultimately thinks that that's the best spot for her to get it. So same thing. I don't really get why we feel a need to bash Tina. And it was just very weird calling her number 31. We all know who Tina Charles is.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like if the league wants to be Charles. Yeah, if the league wants to be petty doing it in other ways, that's just, to me, I think that's disrespectful.
If you're gonna be petty, keep it on social media. I don't need it on my broadcast. Come from the social media
king. Listen to him.
I don't need the drama like that on the broadcast.
But yeah, it was unfortunate because, again, what has Tina done wrong? She did nothing wrong. Tina's a good person. She didn't do anything malicious. To call her number 31, I'm so whack.
I was there too. When you were playing, did you feel, you mentioned that little, the teams can trade you at any point. There isn't really this loyalty that everyone else has. Did you ever feel it in your career when you were making a decision? Did you feel pressure a team has stood right by me, or maybe this team, did you make all your decisions based on you, or were you influenced?
I would say it took a few years to understand that it is a business.
Yep.
So much of the purity of the sport is taken out of it once you get professional, because it is. It's jobs are on the line, whether it's the players, it's the executive coach. So everybody is making the decision for the team as a whole, but at the same time, it's individuals' decisions being made within that. I never necessarily felt that, but I've seen and witnessed some players that I've played with, them deal with it, and it's unfortunate that some fans can't separate the business from the transactions.
This is a job. The whole thing is a job. Continuing on the Tina conversation, now we kind of pegged this like June 25th, the divorce date.
The divorce.
As a trying time between like the start of the newest version of Phoenix and also the start of the new Seattle Storm, who have now started to incorporate Tina Charles into their starting lineup. What is your take on how either teams have fared in the post-divorce era?
I'll start with Seattle. I will say I am a bit surprised, and I'm not, but I'm more so leaning on the side of surprise that they took your favorite player, Ezzy, out of the starting lineup and replaced her with Tina. Ezzy's been playing great. She is a young player that I think they should build around and give more experience to. But then the flip side of that is, no, she's great. I like her. I'm just not a super fan like you. I'm not the president of the fan club. I think Tina deserves the respect. So at some point, when you're a player like of Tina's caliber, a perennial all-star, Olympian, you just there's just certain things you get because of that, and that is the starting position. So it's tough. It'll be interesting to see if that affects Izzy's confidence, and if she is now like, okay, well, this was my role. I had a big role, and now it's like, where do I fit in this? Like, do they value me if I work my ass off to become a starter, if I'm contributing the way I was, and Tina comes and is kind of like, what have you done for me lately? So I think we'll see how it plays out.
I was gonna say, were you surprised that the first game they tried this out on was the revenge game?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I even thought, like, even if that was the game, I would totally understand why they start Tina that game and then maybe bring her back to coming off the bench. And I think it's something that Seattle should explore. I mean, you have Tina Charles coming off the bench in the playoffs. Like, not too many people can say they have a Tina Charles coming off the bench.
Good luck to Vegas.
Yeah. What do you think about how it's fared for Phoenix?
It's been interesting, right? I think Phoenix took so long to figure out what the chemistry was going to be like for a team that didn't have Brittany Griner on it. Obviously, she was the focal point of pretty much everything they did last year. And now taking away Tina means they've put Sophie Cunningham into this 4 role as a stretch wing, and she hasn't, had to pay the price for it on defense, and she's still shooting like crazy on offense. So it's created this spread system where Diana and Skylar and Sophie and Shea Petty can all rain threes. I think I read some number that like 70% of their shots have either been, around the bucket or from 3-point range, like some peak advanced analytics type stuff. And it's worked. Do I think it's going to work in the playoffs? I don't know. Like we were saying before, there's going to be a point where someone is going to realize that they can punish Sophie Cunningham on the defensive side.
I hope it's soon. Speaking of, what's her number? Let's start referring to her by her number on this show.
I have no idea what number she is.
All right, I have a question for you, my friend.
Hit me.
Does Tina Charles make your team better? If you look at her entire career, obviously she's a great player. You're not going to say no to her, but does Tina
like right now,
in general, like we'll say the last 5 years, Tina. Does Tina make your team better?
Oh, yeah.
Does she make you a championship contender?
Here's the tricky part that has been, in my opinion, like late career Tina, right? We know Tina has always been awesome, but as all players do, as you get older and the game changes, you have to change with it. I think Tina did an excellent job with that in Washington when she was an MVP caliber player with Elena Delle Donne off the court, right? They were able to play her as small ball 5. She was able to stretch the floor. She was even defending better than she had in previous years. I think Phoenix didn't really know exactly how to incorporate her there. And in Seattle, I'm also still waiting to see how she meshes with Stewie, because there are times where you want to slide Stewie into that center spot, and Tina, if she's clogging the lane, that's not going to help. So yes, Tina Charles makes your team better. I don't think Tina Charles can be that lead scorer that she's used to being in her whole career, but if she can adapt a slightly lesser role, which I think she's done a pretty good job with so far in Seattle, by far she makes your team better. Was that a good answer?
That was a good answer.
Okay.
You get a bell ring for that.
Good, I did it good. Want to get a little messy?
Let's get messy. All right.
One of my social media faves, Dijon Carrington, had a tweet in which she said, "Can you really dress if you have a stylist who picks out all of your outfits?"
Well, first, let's just put everybody on notice that Matt has a stylist. Puts him in. Nice little white see-through. Matt looked like he was going to like Bora Bora or somewhere in his outfit, but Matt has a stylist.
That was the most nip I've ever shown in my whole life. I can say that. There was a lot of air being circulated. Yeah.
Yeah, but her tweet had so much shade behind it because you see the last couple seasons, they're doing the tunnel walkthrough like they do for the guys, and GQ's like doing best dress. I say yes to this question. You still have to pull it off. You still have to have some taste to give the stylist, an idea of what you like. But she definitely was being shady with this tweet.
You think she had a direct target?
I think she had a direct target. I'd like our viewers to tell us who they think that we can discuss next time. But there's one or two people I think she was throwing major shade at.
Listen, I love this because I'm like kind of outside the realm of understanding like the dress wear drama. So if anybody also wants to tell me who's being talk shade
about. It may or may not be somebody we've discussed on some of our episodes. Okay. I don't know. We'll let the people decide.
Listen, Dijon, continue the mess because we're having a great time trying to decipher exactly who's throwing shades at who at all points. I want to talk briefly. I don't want to get too deep into GOAT conversation because GOAT conversation was like part of WNBA Twitter's downfall last year as we're all arguing. But I found it interesting because we were just, when we were practicing, we kind of had this question as we were watching Sue and Diana have like the GOAT being put in their little Twitter hashtag. Like what actual qualities make someone a GOAT? And we kind of debated between rings and whether or not they uplifted teammates and records. And Marissa, like when you were doing this GOAT combo, what type of things are you thinking about?
One, it's a conversation that frustrates me because I think when you have them, you're taken away from the individuals. Like I don't think it's something that can be quantified.
Yep.
There's going to be different GOATs for different generations and different people. But for me, I think championships definitely needs to be up there. Because I think to be considered a GOAT, you have to win, and then winning becomes leadership. So those are kind of all things that come with winning championships. I think it's the numbers you put up, and it's how versatile you were. How much did you affect the game? So like we've talked about this, someone like Ketch. I think Ketch should be in the GOAT conversation. She never took a playoff, played both ends of the floor, and she was a great leader and great teammate. Best leader I've ever been around. So I think championships don't hold enough weight sometimes when it's a certain player, maybe a DT. DT only has 3, but in a lot of people's minds, she's the GOAT. Sue has what, 4? 4. Yeah, 4. So so I don't know. It's hard because there's so many different factors that play into it. It's the generation. It's your longevity. It's your impact. Did you make the people around you any better? Those are for me the important ones.
Better question. Do you think we need to has the word GOAT? Do we have to throw it out the window at this point? Is it just used so often that it could mean too many things?
It's used too often. Yeah. Somebody has one little accomplishment. Okay, I don't want to say one. Somebody has one accomplishment, and now they're a GOAT. Like, it's used too freely now that I don't even think it holds the weight that it used to. But
I say GOAT to everything now.
Yeah. But Sue and Diana are some of the greatest, 2 of the greatest that have ever played our game. Great. The impact for women's basketball is huge. So they have those qualities, but then Cheryl Swoops, where does she fall in this? Because she's the reason a lot of people fell in love with the game. I remember waiting in line to get her shoes with my mom growing up, and there were grown men waiting in line to get the Cheryl Swoops. So that's like the same cultural impact that Michael Jordan had for basketball when he played, in my opinion. So is she the GOAT? Is Maya, who left at the prime of her career, but I mean, when you look at her numbers and her championships, but then you said the people she played with. So it's such a hard conversation to have.
It's a very tough one that will continue to be ongoing, but we will monitor it going forward. Everyone you can use the term GOAT, but just know it means a little less than it once did.
We need to think of our own term.
Yeah, we have to think of our own term. We'll get there. But I do want to move us along. We have to do our bets for next week.
All right. You ready to go 0 for 6?
I'm 1 for
okay,
I'm 1
you're
and 5.
0, 1, 5.
I'm 0.
You have no wins. All right. So my bet is for Wednesday's game, Phoenix, LA. Mm-hmm. I have NECA going off. I have NECA with a double-double.
I have to root against NECA. That sucks.
I mean, Sophie, what's her number? Whatever her number is, number blank is going to be guarding NECA. NECA's going to go off.
She's going to feast.
I have Nneka with a double-double. I say she's going to get like 15-10 minimum.
Okay, I'm going to finally try and win a guard matchup, and I'm going to take a long shot here, but just because I believe in her.
Okay. You sure you want to do that when you have no wins?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get bullied no matter what, okay? The Aces and Fever play on, I think, Friday. I am taking Kelsey Mitchell to score more points than Kelsey Plum in the Battle of Kelseys.
Ooh. I like that one.
Thank you.
I think you're still going to lose.
Thank you. Marissa, in our final bit here, do you want to share with our friends a new basketball league that's happening?
Yes, so Matt not only convinced me to do this show,
sure did,
but he also convinced me to play in a co-ed basketball league that I
need to win something.
Taking your phrase, I cannot emphasize enough that until yesterday I had not put on basketball shoes since November 2020. So it's been a while since I played basketball, but I got some friends to join. So Elena Beard, myself, Crystal Langhorn, we're all joining Matt in a co-ed league that starts tomorrow night. I'm a little nervous because I don't know how. I got to get my ankle braces. I got to start stretching tonight. Got to hydrate.
Okay, you shouldn't be nervous. First of all, we practiced yesterday.
We did practice yesterday.
And I think we both did great. Like, we only needed a couple of water breaks, and we couldn't figure out how to make the Dr. Dish thing work. But besides that, like, I think
we did pretty well.
We played pretty strong. I want you to answer this question now.
Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Our good buddy Elena Beard did ask.
Our teammate.
Asking about me. Am I the guy that knows a ton about sports, or am I a baller?
Elena, don't worry. I wouldn't lie to you, fam. Matt has a little jump shot to him. He has a little jump shot.
Marissa said something nice about me on the show.
Matt has a jump shot. I have faith in him. Don't worry. He won't mess up your assist to turnover ratio.
Before we head out, now we have our usual bet. I want to make one more smaller bet on our first game, which will have already happened by the time the show comes out. But give me an in-game bet. What do you got?
All right. I like to bet on myself at all times. Love to bet on myself. Bet on my friends. I bet that Lang and I both have an air ball in the first game. That's my bet.
Okay, that's hilarious. Because I like to start drama, I'm betting on Lang to outscore Marissa in game one.
Are you sure you want to do that? Coming from the person who tweeted, Lang, saying, I don't know how Riss wrote me into this. I hope I can just be a cheerleader on the bench.
Lang, I believe in you, and if Marissa's open on a fast break, she's not getting a pass from me.
Oh, so now we're point shaving. Okay, got it. As I just chuck an air ball just so I win.
All right, we're hitting our time limit, Marissa. You want to send us off?
Let's do it. As always, we want to end with shouting out BG, Brittany Griner. We're always thinking of her. If you're on social, tweet about her, talk about it, get your friends to sign the petition. Shout out to our good friends in Washington, D.C. that put a nice mural of all the detained Americans that are abroad. So just always want to let BG know we're thinking of her and want to do our part.
We miss you, BG.
Cheers, my friend.